35. Abdul Hamid II, 1876 and 1909, was the last sultan to wield absolute power in the Ottoman Empire. Initially embracing reform, he later suspended the constitution and ruled with autocracy for over 30 years, before being deposed by the Young Turks movement. Abdul Hamid II ascended the throne on August 31, 1876, following the deposition of his mentally unstable brother, Mehmed V. He began his reign by approving the empire's first constitution, 1876, marking the start of the first constitutional era. But in 1878, just 2 years later, he dissolved the parliament and suspended the constitution, ushering in a long period of autocratic rule. During this time, he centralized power, utilized secret police, and suppressed dissent. He fought the Russo-Turkish War, 1877-78, and lost major Balkan territories. Despite his authoritarianism, he invested heavily in education, modern bureaucracy, and major infrastructure like the Hejaz Railway. In 1908, amid rising pressure from the Young Turks, he was forced to reinstate the constitution. A year later, in 1909, after a failed counter-coup, he was deposed and exiled to Salonika. 36. Mehmed V, 1909 to 1918, was the nominal ruler of the Ottoman Empire during World War I, though real power rested with the Committee of Union and Progress, CUP. His reign saw the empire suffer massive territorial losses, pushing it toward inevitable collapse. Mehmed V ascended the throne on April 27, 1909, following the deposition of Abdul Hamid II by the Young Turks. Though he held the titles of Sultan and Caliph, actual authority was exercised by the CUP, led by Enver Pasha, Talat Pasha, and Cemal Pasha. Under his reign, the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers during World War I, 1914, allying with Germany and Austria-Hungary. The empire lost significant territory: the Balkans, North Africa, and the Arab provinces. Ethnic tensions, uprisings, and economic hardship plagued the empire. Mehmed V died on July 3, 1918, just months before the Ottomans signed the armistice, and the empire began to dissolve. 37. Mehmed VI, 1918. 1918-1922 was the last sultan of the Ottoman Empire. His reign marked the empire's collapse after World War I, foreign occupation of Istanbul, and his eventual deposition by the Turkish nationalist movement, ending over 600 years of imperial rule. Mehmed VI ascended the throne on July 4, 1918, shortly before the Ottoman Empire signed the Armistice of Mudros, October 30, 1918, ending World War I. During his rule, Istanbul was occupied by Allied forces, British, French, Italian. The empire was carved up under colonial treaties imposed by the victors. While the Sultan's court sought survival through negotiation, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk launched the Turkish War of Independence, 1919 to 1923. On November 1, 1922, the Grand National Assembly in Ankara abolished the Ottoman Sultanate and deposed Mehmed VI. On November 17, 1922, he fled Istanbul aboard a British warship, living in exile in Italy until his death in 1926. He was the last monarch of the Ottoman Empire, officially ending a dynasty that lasted 6 years. 38. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, 1936, was the founder of the Republic of Turkey and led sweeping modernization reforms, transforming a post-Ottoman state into a secular, democratic, and Western-oriented nation. After the Ottoman Empire collapsed, Mustafa Kemal led the Turkish War of Independence, 1919 to 1923, against occupying forces from Greece, Britain, France, and Italy. On October 29, 1923, he proclaimed the Republic of Turkey and became its first president. During his presidency, 1923 to 1938, Ataturk launched radical reforms across all aspects of life, abolished the caliphate, 1924, and separated religion from the state, switched from Arabic to Latin script for the Turkish language, empowered women, granting them voting rights in 1934, reformed education, legal systems, dress codes, and government administration. His policies aimed to create a modern, secular, and Western-leaning nation, severing ties with Ottoman traditions. Ataturk died on November 10, 1938, and remains one of the most revered leaders in Turkish history, widely honored as the father of the nation. 39. Ismet İnönü, 1936-1950, was the second president of the Republic of Turkey, known for keeping Turkey neutral during World War II and overseeing the country's transition to multi-party democracy. After the death of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk on November 10, 1938, Ismet İnönü, Ataturk's close ally and fellow war hero, was elected the second president of Turkey. He served from November 11, 1938 to May 20, 1950. During his presidency, he successfully maintained Turkey's neutrality through most of World War II, despite intense pressure from both the Axis and Allied powers. After the war, İnönü initiated a transition to a multi-party democracy, aligning Turkey with the West. In 1950, he peacefully conceded power after losing democratic elections to the Democrat Party, led by Adnan Menderes. His peaceful transfer of power marked the first democratic transition in modern Turkish history. Even after his presidency, İnönü remained an influential political leader until his death in 1973. 40. Adnan Menderes, 1950-1960, was the first democratically elected Prime Minister of Turkey. He oversaw significant economic growth and religious liberalization, but was overthrown in a military coup in 1960 and executed, becoming a symbol of political tragedy in Turkish history. Menderes led the Democrat Party, which ended the CHP's single-party rule. He served as prime minister from 1950 to 1960, following a historic democratic election. During his term, he pursued free market reforms, boosted agriculture, infrastructure, and rural development, allowed greater public expression of Islamic practices, reversing some strict secular policies. However, toward the end, his government restricted press freedom and cracked down on opposition, raising concerns among military leaders. On May 27, 1960, a military coup deposed his government. In 1961, he was tried and executed by hanging, along with 2 senior ministers. Today, Menderes is viewed by many as a martyr of democracy, and his legacy has since been rehabilitated in Turkish political memory. 41. Turgut Ozal, 1989-1993, served as the 8th president of Turkey, and was a key figure in liberalizing the Turkish economy, transforming it from a state-controlled system into a modern, market-oriented economy integrated with the global financial system. Before becoming president, Ozal served as prime minister from 1983 to 1989. As the founder of the Motherland Party, Anatolian Partisi, he led a new economic vision after years of military rule. During his time as prime minister and president, he privatized state enterprises and reduced government control over the economy, encouraged foreign investment and international trade through deregulation, achieved significant GDP growth, shifting Turkey closer to global markets. In foreign affairs, he strengthened ties with the U.S., the European Union, and the modern Islamic world. He died suddenly in 1993 while still in office, leaving behind a legacy of bold economic reforms and modernization. 42. Suleyman Demirel, 1993-2000, served as the 9th president of Turkey, following a long and dynamic political career. As president, he prioritized political stability and democratic continuity during a volatile decade, marked by coalition governments and rising political Islam. Demirel became president on May 16, 1993, after the sudden death of President Turgut Ozal. He served a full 7-year term, stepping down on May 16, 2000. Prior to his presidency, he was one of Turkey's most experienced prime ministers, serving 7 different terms between 1965 and 1993, non-consecutively. As president, he focused on preserving democratic institutions and managing political crises as coalition governments rose and fell. The 1990s saw a growing influence of political Islam, leading to rising tensions with the secular military. Demirel remains a symbol of pragmatic leadership, known for his wit, experience, and deep knowledge of Turkish political life. 43. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, 2003-2005, is the most influential Turkish leader of the 21st century. From Prime Minister, 2003 to 2014, to President, 2014 to present, he oversaw major economic reforms, transformed the political system into a powerful executive presidency, and reshaped Turkey's domestic and international policies. As Prime Minister, 2003 to 2014, led the Justice and Development Party, AKP, after its 2002 election victory, initiated sweeping economic reforms, resulting in major GDP growth in the 2000s, invested heavily in infrastructure, healthcare, education, and transportation, pursued a foreign policy of zero problems with neighbors, expanding Turkey's regional influence. As president, 2010 to present, became the first directly elected president of Turkey. In 2017, a constitutional referendum transformed Turkey into an executive presidential system, consolidating power in the presidency. Faced a failed coup attempt in 2016, economic crises, political polarization, and international scrutiny for authoritarian policies. As of 2025, Erdogan remains a central figure in Turkish politics, shaping national identity, economics, and foreign policy.